Welcome back to Dreamin' Dragons. New to growing dragon fruit? New to the channel? Or maybe a new spin to some dragon fruit goss is just what the doctors ordered? Today we're whacking together my high five of things I wish I knew when I first started growing. Plus there may be a cheeky few added bonus tips and tricks along the way because why not? In no particular order, let's get the dragon roaring with buying from reputable sellers. I've seen countless people stung by sellers who are in it for a quick buck. Renamed or mislabeled varieties and ratty cuttings are usually the biggest stings. Unless you're gifted it or landed at an absolute rock bottom price, if someone's selling you a piece of new growth or anything less than around 25 centimeters or 10 inches for those playing across the ditch, you're setting yourself up for a super slow start and I would steer clear. A plump, mature cutting has more reserve and energy to get you up and running. It will also produce thicker, more resilient new growth too, so less likely to be affected by the elements. Ask your seller as well if they've had a fruit from the variety, and was it true to what it's being sold as. If not, regardless how nice and friendly they are, I'd be worried that there is a risk you may not be getting what you're paying for. I've been stung by this one before. Definitely hurts when you discover a bland white 2 years down the track when you're wanting a nice purple. Not handy on the tools? Seen all these fancy trellis constructions online and overwhelmed by the process? Simply put, you don't need one if you want fruit nor a healthy plant. A bucket with a bit of soil, chuck it on a retaining wall, a tree stump, or even another bucket and let your dragon overhang the edge of the bucket. Voila! Fruit in half the time. I call these bad boys one-pot wonders. Simple, easy to manage, and don't take up much space in your yard. Jackpot! Unlike most of my videos, let's not deep dive. Don't plant your cuttings too deep. Less is best. You'll find the roots pop out the bottom of your cutting, so don't introduce any extra flesh into the soil than you absolutely have to. A week or so of damp, miserable weather and a few inches of buried dragon fruit flesh sitting in soaking wet soil is a recipe for rot. Flesh rot, when left unchecked, can spread quickly, and before you know it, your whole plant can be on its knees. So keep it shallow, keep it happy. Starting off with a variety that is vigorous, productive, and most importantly, self-fertile is an absolute must if you're growing these bad boys for the fruit. For those new to the game, a self-fertile variety is one which can set fruit with the use of its own pollen, contrasted with a self-sterile one in which it needs the pollen from another variety. A common misconception is that if you have two varieties, they'll sort themselves out. Unfortunately, more often than not, if you have two plants, their blooms won't sync and you'll end up sad and fruitless. Starting off with a variety like a sugar dragon or a pink panther, which punch out dozens of flowers in a number of waves, early, mid, and late season, are absolute game changers, as the chance that a flower will open within a few days of your self-sterile varieties is significantly higher. This also allows you to collect, store, and reuse its pollen on your other varieties. There are plenty of great self-sterile varieties, don't get me wrong, plenty of mine are self-sterile, but a wildly productive self-fertile should be front row center on your list. Network early. There are some great social media pages out there with some very experienced growers. In Australia, for example, we have Dragon Fruit Australia. In the States and across Asia, there are bucket loads as well. Plenty of information, plenty of questions and answers, plenty of nonsense too, so be wary, but the general vibe is that of help. I've met some absolutely incredible and helpful growers that have since become mates with shared cuttings, shared tips and tricks, and all the better for it, so definitely get around that. Gardening is damn dirty business, and I wish I'd considered soil health and the importance of a good foundation earlier. The mixes I'd started off with had been the traditional potting mixes, which started off fine, but after 12-18 months noted they'd become compacted tile-like sludge, and I virtually needed a pickaxe to hack it all out. Being loaded with bark and woody products which are breaking down and rotting, my plants were slowly choking. Through growing dragons, I've met some incredible people who have shared their soil wisdom, and I've since learnt that our plants need a mix with large and small materials that create space for not just water to travel between, but also to draw in oxygen for our plants' roots. And by having this mix of shapes and sizes aids in creating these pathways. It's also important to have a percentage of inert materials that won't break down and compact, unlike our woody sludge, minimizing the crippling of our drainage and aeration. I now make my own soil. Pretty cheap and easy. You can check out last season's mix linked in the description. And patience. Is this something I wish I knew when I started, or is this more something I just needed in general? The other half and the folks at work would probably lean towards the latter. Gardening and watching our dragons grow is a beautiful and mostly peaceful thing. Give a little love and it's usually repaid tenfold. There's plenty of nifty tips and tricks to speed up or create shortcuts to specific targets, many found here on my channel. Subscribe. But appreciate the process, learn as you go, and find what works best for you. Don't get so focused on getting fruit that you ignore the peaceful afternoon walks through the yard. Deep. So deep. And finally, if you found this one interesting, take a squeeze through this one here too. Should hit the spot just like a dragon fruit on a warm summer's day. Oh baby.